The threat evolves and will continue to evolve at a rapid rate. The accelerating pace of change when it comes to technology, the increasing interconnection, interdependence, increasing digitization of society, these things mean that, if we think that hackers and cyber criminals, horrible, I hate using the phrase hackers because of course not all hackers are bad. I know everyone uses it so easily, but cyber criminals, let's call these things what they are. If we think that cyber criminals have had a heyday over the last 12 months, which they have, we have seen nothing compared to the heyday they're about to have when they continue to exploit the fact that as organizations, we are all so much more, even more dependent on technology than we were 18 months ago. What does that mean? Well, it means actually for those of us who are focused on human risk, we need to be on our toes because the threat changes. I saw the recent threat report out today looking at new exploitations of the way in which phishing is evolving with Office 365 applications. And actually, the traditional look out for this, don't click on that, make sure you verify that. Those things, those bits of advice aren't necessarily appropriate for that particular threat vector. So we literally need to keep on top of this evolving threat vector. And that is one of the changes and evolutions that I think is really quite important. It's going to change. The other thing I think we're going to see is the issue of privacy and security continue to become ever closer intertwined. And then the public discourse around what does it physically mean to look after personal data heightens the focus on, as an organization, if you claim to be a good governance organization, if you really do have an ESG policy that looks at that, explain what you're doing with your people's data and indeed how you're looking after it, what you're doing with your customers' data and how you're looking after it, your partners' data, and of course, adding to that third-party supply chain risk. I generally think this space is going to evolve significantly because, of course, there are so many gaps and vulnerabilities in so many organizations. I don't think these are bad things. I think these are all good things, but I think it's going to intensify the conversation. We'll also at the same time see a consolidation. We'll see people wanting to turn to one place and get several things from one place and a bigger bang for a buck out of security solutions they have in place. And all of this will be driven by the change in the threats, the continuous change in threats. So I think this is going to be a really interesting few years post-pandemic. Like I said, I don't think we've seen anything yet. I think we're just stepping into the real change. 18 months was the spark for acceleration. We're now about to live it.
Yeah, it is so true. If I even think of myself and how much, like I've always been a technologist, but how much more even now than 18 months ago, I'm relying on technology. That percentage of my life that is fully involved in it, it's kind of scary. Or when you talk to some of the people nowadays who have never had a world without a phone or Wi-Fi or a smartphone, and you kind of maybe talk about the days when there wasn't Wi-Fi, and it's like there is no comprehension of it. So it's definitely interesting.